I know I've already been on here today. I jumped on, and hopefully you guys enjoyed my episode 2 of catching up with what's going on in our sport. But you guys, I got to tell you about UFC 167. Dana White predicts that UFC 168, the card features the rematch between Rousey and Tate, features the main event, the rematch between Weidman and Anderson Silva, which Anderson comes out again the favorite. Again, I'm going to go with Anderson because I think he looked better the last time. But let me tell you about quickly UFC 167, how great the fight card is. In case you don't know, the headliners are finally we're going to see Big Rig Hendricks fight uh, GSP, the man at 170, the $5 million man they're calling on the underground. So GSP versus Hendricks, I don't think GSP could take that. I don't think he can take that kind of power. We all saw what Matt Serra did to him, and then he turns into a boring wrestler, and the number one pay-per-view draw in UFC history at the same time. But co-main event, Chael Sonnen versus coming off an epic win on UFC on Fox Sports 1. First round submission over Shogun Hua. Props to Chael Sonnen, by the way. Rory, the Waterboy McDonald, I refuse to call him Aries until he fucking fights again like a man. There's no way that anyone can tell me that he deserves another fight, especially on a main card after his last performance with Ellenberger. The guy wouldn't pull the trigger. It seems like that whole TriStar gym up there, it seems like what they're doing is point fighting, and boring me to death and making me feel like I'm wasting my money and my time by watching these guys. So I hope to see fireworks when he takes on Robbie Lawler, ruthless Robbie Lawler, remember from back in the day, the knockout artist, or depending if you're, well, I am a Diaz fan. Fought Nick Diaz. Everyone thought Nick Diaz was going to stand up with him, get knocked out. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. Shouldn't be standing with Robbie. Well, he stood with Robbie. Robbie just rocks him. Did fairly well in Strikeforce. Did very well. Actually beat Melvin Manhoff, if you can believe that. If you don't know who Melvin Manhoff is, yeah, should probably wouldn't be watching my videos if you didn't know who Melvin Manhoff is, right? But anyway, Ruthless Robbie Lawler, since he's been back in the UFC, has looked incredible. His last fight against Bobby Volkman, I have never seen Ruthless Robbie Lawler look better. Not in the past when he fought for the UFC, not when he fought for Strikeforce, and certainly anytime in between. This guy, he looks incredible, and I can't wait to see Rory McDonald suffer his second career TKO loss. One of the most important fights on the card. Frank Mir takes on Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem initially knees Brock Lesnar to death and puts him into retirement. People are looking at him as the next big thing, right? K1 champion, check. Huge, check. Eats horse meat, all this crazy stuff. Big popular fighter. Back-to-back knockout losses to Bigfoot Silva and then Travis Brown in a stunning upset. He actually got front kicked in the face after he poured some nasty combos and strikes and knees against the fence on Travis Brown, who survived it to just come back and throw a left high kick to the face of Alistair Overeem, who falls down and gets finished on the ground by Travis Brown. Big ups. He's from PA too, Pennsylvania. I'm from Pittsburgh Pride. Gotta love my peoples, including this man, Josh Koscheck. Josh Koscheck's about 30 miles north of here. It's where he started his career at Edinburgh University. He'll be taking on Tyrone Woodley, former Strikeforce champion. Can't wait for that one. It's another huge one, depending on how you look at it. Josh Koscheck needs this to stay relevant, as is Woodley. But Woodley has nowhere near the Octagon cred that Josh Koscheck has, or if you'd like, you can even say had. So, and desperately wants back. So I don't know. I don't know the odds yet, but I'm definitely pulling for Cause. And then if that's not good enough, there's Cerrone versus Dunham. Evan Dunham came out like a bat out of hell. He looked incredible at lightweight. Everyone thought he was going to be the next big thing. Then he fights Sean Shirk, who's absolutely still a fighter on the UFC roster, and loses a narrow split decision and has kind of been in between. Cerrone was a favorite in his last fight against Rafael dos Anjos. I thought for sure he would have the fight on lock. Rafael dos Anjos comes out and surprises me and pretty much everybody else. It puts on an MMA clinic and defeated Cerrone 29-28. I do have odds for two of the fights, and that's the main event and the co-main event. I do have official odds. GSP What is today's date? Today's date is actually the 26th. So as of 9/26, George St-Pierre is minus 230, and Johnny Hendricks is plus 190. What that means is Johnny Hendricks is about a 2-1 underdog, and George St-Pierre is a little more than a 2-1 favorite to win. Chael Sonnen also versus Rashad Evans. Chael Sonnen is plus 125, meaning he's the underdog. Rashad Evans minus 165, meaning he's a very, very slight favorite. I'd have to agree with it. I'd have to agree with those odds exactly. Those are my picks. I don't think that GSP is going to have the ability to deal with the power, but I don't think he's going to have to. I don't think he's going to have to deal with the power. I think that they'll cook up some boring way to pull this fight out. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that they don't. Again, for Chael Sonnen, old dogs are learning new tricks. And look, I'm pulling for both the underdogs here. I'm going to go with I like Evans in the co-main event, and again, George St-Pierre. This is the year of the upset, so you know what? I'm gonna switch it up. I'm gonna say Johnny Big Rig Hendricks by TKO, and they're not going to the championship rounds. That's what I've been saying for the last 3 months. This last week, I kind of changed my mind, but this card is stacked from top to bottom. If you are an MMA fan, especially a UFC fan, you can't miss this card. If you can't afford the pay-per-view, please hit me up, and we will work that out. Power 7 101 Nation.